Anyway, well, thank you for waking up early on a holiday.
Oh, this is not early for me. I am a morning person.
That got you up. I guess first off, how was your holiday weekend?
Rainy and cold. How was yours?
Same. So, did this impact folks in Newtown? Talk to us about, I guess, a lot of the preparations. Were there? I know in Monroe there was supposed to have been a parade, right?
I don't know what they were doing in Monroe. Newtown doesn't have a parade. Most of the events are actually taking place this morning, starting at 10:10 a.m. at Eichler's Cove, and proceeding along the Housatonic River. There's taps along the Housatonic with various musicians playing taps one after another. And then the VFW post always has a ceremony, and theirs is at 11 a.m. this morning. So there's a number of things going on. On Friday, we had the Women's Club, which planted something like 200 flags around the Soldiers and Sailors Monument at the head of Main Street. But Newtown does not have a parade for Memorial Day. Where our big one, of course, is the Labor Day parade, and that's still up in the air as to whether or not they'll be able to do that this fall.
I know that obviously a lot of businesses probably prepared for a holiday weekend rush of customers. Any
Right.
sense of what was the impact of the weather? I know people complain about it. It was an inconvenience, but for some, it probably was a serious disruption.
I think that for those places that rely on people being outside, it definitely was a disruption. But many of the restaurants are offering indoor seating at this time, and they've been very busy. It's been very steady for them. So I think that you may have had some people moving inside who might have hesitated before, hoping that they could do an outdoor dining experience. And I think people, because you can gather with more inside your home amongst the vaccinated, I think that a lot of people who are planning outdoor activities, and I know that happened at our house, even though it was a very small gathering, everything moved indoors. I think people are being a little flexible, they're being smart, and just looking to do the best they can. And remember that COVID still exists, but with so many people vaccinated in Connecticut, we're feeling a lot safer.
It's funny you said that, and we certainly talked all weekend about how, and I'm sure we're not the only ones, about how what a difference from a year ago.
Yeah, it really is. But if you remember, even a year ago, numbers were dropping as we moved into the summer and people were spending more time outside. So although we weren't vaccinated at the time, and although people were having to wear masks everywhere, people were getting together, which by and large was pretty good, except for the very large gatherings that caused some super spreader events.
I'm noticing that not only in Connecticut, but throughout the country, I guess, a lot of the vaccine sites are starting to be broken down, and we're moving on because we're reaching the numbers of shots given out.
Yeah, Connecticut has a very, very good number of people who are vaccinated in the state and in Connecticut and in Newtown. So the vaccination clinics are not anywhere near as busy as they were a month ago. Now I think that the push is to convince the vaccine hesitant to become vaccinated so that we really reach that herd immunity, which we can't until we're at 70, 80%. Some of the population in Connecticut is already at that, but not all of us.
Nancy, let's talk about the bee this week. I saw a John Voquette article about emergency workers getting their due.
Right. The Legislative Council Ordinance Committee, I think it was the Ordinance Commission. Anyway, the Legislative Council has voted to increase the tax abatement for volunteer first responders so that starting with their second year of service to the town, they get a tax abatement, and that goes up ever so slightly for the next several years until it reaches a maximum. And this is something that I don't think anybody in Newtown has a problem with, because we are so fortunate to have this many volunteers in our town who take care of emergencies. We're a pretty big town. To not have paid firefighters and, paid ambulance workers, um, and we're a growing town. So to have that number of people willing to drop what they're doing and respond to these emergencies day after day, they certainly deserve a little bit more than, the rest of us who rely on them.
Yeah, I was happy to see that. What else is in the pages of the Bee?
Wow, it seems like so long ago. It's already Monday. A lot of our coverage was about Memorial Day coming up. We also had what is a print exclusive story that was about the Newtown Allies for Change held a rally in commemoration of George Floyd's death a year ago, and talking about how Newtown has or has not moved forward in that year, recognizing the fact that racism does exist in Newtown, that there are issues that still need to be resolved, and people need to really think about race and how it affects people in our town, how it affects our friends and neighbors. I think that we've been a little unaccepting of the fact that it's not always nicer in Newtown. So there was this rally on Tuesday evening in front of Edmond Town Hall, and we have a print exclusive story for that, for our readers. And
Yeah.
this is one of those things where people ask us often, like, why are the things that are print exclusive? Why don't you put everything up on the website? And the reason for that is that we have subscribers who pay to read the Newtown Bee, and we feel that they deserve extra news other than what is given out for free on our website.
Remind us, because we obviously do talk a lot about the online edition, remind us how we can get the Newtown Bee delivered.
If you go to, well, first of all, you can call 203-426-3141 anytime during the week, and someone is happy to take your subscription information. In every print issue of the Newtown Bee, there's information on how to subscribe to the Newtown Bee. And if you go to newtownbee.com, to our homepage, you will be able to find the subscription information, how to subscribe there. So there's multiple ways that you can, for many people, the easiest way is just call the Newtown Bee and say, hey, I want a subscription. It's $47 for a year. That's less than $1 a week.
Yeah. On the race issue, I remember talking to, I guess, our congresswoman, and she was doing an online forum. And unfortunately, of course, there was an uncomfortable moment where race came up, and it had to have been from Newtown. I said, wow, this is just a reminder that this exists everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's something that's been kind of a harsh realization for many of us, is the fact that people are marginalized in our town, and we just need to be conscious of it, and we need to work with people and be willing to step up and say things when we see something that's wrong, when we hear something that's wrong, when we read something that's wrong, and say, this is not acceptable.
Yeah. We made it through a rainy holiday weekend. What are we looking at this week in town?
Well, one of the things that
I guess it's summer, right? I mean,
it is. Officially it's summer. It doesn't feel like it, but I understand by midweek we are going to be feeling like it's summer again. We are going to be, again, you'll have more coverage about this Taps on the Housatonic event.
By the way, I'm taking trumpet lessons, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit more about that. The Charter Review continues to gather information on its charges, and one of those includes whether or not there should be changes to the Board of Finance. So people will be reading about that. We also have a semi-regular article that we run called From Pencil to Paper. And that's kind of a how we did it, where one of our editors will take readers step by step through how a story came to be. From the time that we learn about it, someone gives us some information about it, we go to a meeting, whatever it is, and how that story develops. And one of the reasons that we do this is that many people don't understand all that goes into making a story, the decisions that have to be made along the way, the people that have to be contacted, the time that's put into what may look like a very short story in print, but actually has taken many hours of research. So that's something that people can look forward to this week as well.
Boy, do I appreciate that. And then there's a whole closet filled of stories that were abandoned, by the way, that I worked on, for broadcast that we just didn't get there. But one day I want to get back to those stories. I'm sure that you have those in your pocket too.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something. I mean, that's what I've always found to be the really wonderful thing about Newtown is that, between the people and the places, there's always something going on, and there's always something worth looking into and worth writing about. Newtown Bee is so much about the people, and it's so much about the places here in town and our history. So it can be kind of interesting as to how we create those stories or how they come to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're running out of time. Anything else that we need to know about?
I don't think so. Just, as usual, keep an eye on newtownbee.com. Give the office a call if you have any questions. And, if you really have something that you need to talk to one of us about in person, you can come into the office, wear a mask, and call ahead, and we are happy to talk to people.
And if you're walking down, it's downhill, so you could just turn in.
That's right.
Yeah, I've walked my dog plenty of times past. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us on a holiday.